hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah, talking reparations. America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all in Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get mad. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regret, we only facing the threat.
This is the sound of Eric Malcolm.
It's a cut on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threat. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking straight, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine, you son. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans, and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine, you son. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me?
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your daily vitamin. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Also, don't forget to double check and make sure you're still subscribed to the channel, especially if you have not been receiving those notifications. All right, so with that all being said, let's get into it. Okay, let's get into it. Hello, Mel, Claudette. Lots Queen Candy J is in the virtual building. Perplex is here. All right, I see you. We the people. 504 Nola. All right, G from the land. Nene is in the house. All right, let's get into it. Mel. All right, J Love the Queen. Claudette, Juju B. Okay, so shout out to all of my loyal royals. I see you, Desmond, and everyone tuned into the Queen. And a big shout out to my moderators because y'all know they be putting in work. Okay, so let's get into it. Hey, Laverne. Everybody hit that like button and let's get ready to get into it. Let me just pull this chat up on my phone. And before we get started, as per usual, because y'all know I have to keep the lights on, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so with that being said, don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find it at Walmart.com. And don't forget that she sells beard oil as well. Okay. So let's get ready to get into it because you all, everything's going wrong, okay, for Trump and his cabinet. So first off, we already know about Pete Hegseth. They're still dragging him. And then now there appears to be some cracks in the foundation, okay, of the GOP itself. There is a whole lot going on. Now, Representative Elise Stefanik doesn't think that MAGA Mike, aka Mike Johnson, should be in charge, that they need new leadership. She says that she believes a majority of Republicans would vote for new leadership and that Mike Johnson is an ineffective leader who wouldn't have the votes to be Speaker if there was a roll call vote tomorrow. I found that interesting. Now, in an interview with the Wall Street Journal, Stefanik, the chair of House Republican leadership, described Johnson as a political novice and stated that I believe that the majority of Republicans would vote for new leadership. It's that widespread. Other female Republican representatives who have been publicly critical of Speaker Johnson, of his leadership, those include Marjorie Taylor Greene. Well, we don't need to count her because she resigned. And then Nancy Mace, Anna Paulina Luna. Okay, so definitely some things going wrong. Right, but let's talk about Trump, first of all. Trump's having some health issues, in my opinion. Now, I can't substantiate this. I can only tell you all what Dr. Gupta said. I told you about that. And the other doctor I showed you where they feel like one doctor felt like Trump may have possibly had some mini strokes, and then that he's possibly suffering from the beginning stages of frontal temporal dementia. Well, yeah, that's what I think too. But I also think that he may be doing he may be taking some, how do I want to call this, some experimental treatments, so to speak. Okay, this new medication that they're testing out, okay, for people who have dementia or Alzheimer's. So let's get into that because I got some research on it and I looked up some of the side effects, and it's pretty much some of the things that we've been seeing from Trump as of late. Okay, so I'm going to go to this video, and this medicine is called Leqembi.
Continue our coverage of an FDA-approved Alzheimer's drug that can slow cognitive decline and not just treat the symptoms.
Yeah, it's a really big deal. A lot of people, especially those who suffer from Alzheimer's, they are so hopeful about any progress that can be made. Fox China's Carrie Beal spoke with a patient who participated in the clinical trial for this drug. Carrie.
Yeah, the 89-year-old patient I talked to has been taking the medicine for about 2 years, and he believes it's the reason he's still functioning so well.
Hi Zelika, are you ready for today?
I'm ready.
Okay, let's get this started.
Zelek started the Alzheimer's treatment known as Leqembi in clinical trials 2 years ago.
Okay, keep your arms straight. That's nice. Good.
It involves an IV treatment taken once every 2 weeks.
We'll get you started, okay?
Zelek, who lives in Canada, asked we not use his last name.
I hardly feel it at all, and it lasts about an hour, and it drip, and then you rest about a half an hour, and then you go home.
His older brother died from Alzheimer's disease.
And that was a very disturbing thing for me because I was concerned I hope it wouldn't happen to me.
So when Zelek was diagnosed, he immediately got involved with this clinical trial. Leqembi is only designed for those with early stages of the disease.
Well, this is the first time that we have a drug shown to slow down the progression of Alzheimer's disease by targeting an underlying key pathology of the disease. So this is an exciting milestone.
The director of Toronto Memory Program, Dr. Sharon Cohen, examined patients as they took the drug.
How are you? Nice
Very
to
good.
see you.
By 18 months on cognitive measures and functional measures, there was a 27% slowing. And we saw that slowing as early as 6 months.
But there can be side effects, like brain bleeds.
This is self-limiting for the most part, often occurs without any symptoms at all. And yet we monitor with MRI scans.
Zelek says the drug has allowed him to continue spending quality time with his wife.
My wife recently had an operation. I don't do a lot of things around the house. I took over everything in the house, and everything was fine.
And you said you haven't noticed any further decline, like in the last 2 years?
No, it seems that I've just stayed steady.
Hold on, okay? Flower Lotus says only designed for those with money. Likely so, or very good insurance. D Major said, wow, that's amazing. I'm glad this is now an option. Okay, that's not the comment I was looking for. This is it right here. Roddy said, Trump is rotting from the inside, from eating what he thinks is rich people's foods. It's not because of his age, it's habits and lifestyle. Well, that is a factor because there are some people that are older than Trump, and they are in their right frames of mind. So absolutely, it does have a lot to do with your diet and how you take care of yourself when you're younger. Because one thing that scientific research has shown, and I'm not a doctor and I'm not giving you medical advice, you can look this up for yourself, but that people who tend to have like suffer from Alzheimer's and dementia and things like that, they usually tend to have fluoride or aluminum in their body. Okay. They tend to have that, and that's why it's not good to heat your food in the oven with foil. And I know black folk love to do it because that's what some of y'all cover your stuff up. Some of y'all bake your stuff in there. You wrap your potatoes in it, but y'all know that's not good. And those types of things are what they claim, aluminum leads to Alzheimer's. Okay, so just keep that in mind. But at the end of the day, that's not just the reason I think that Trump may be using that is because remember, Trump keeps having these MRIs. And then he says, this is just a regular physical. You don't get an MRI at a regular physical. They're looking for something. They're checking on something. They're trying to see the progression of something that's going on with the patient or if it's just staying the same. But they have to check. It's something very serious. It's usually the heart, the brain. Those are the main two. It's usually some type of organ, but usually the heart or the brain. So Trump said he didn't know what body part it was. Well, this medication, this experimental drug, Leqembi, it can cause brain bleeds, and that would make you need an MRI so they can check for that because that's very dangerous. That's something very serious. You could have seizures. So let's talk about it because here, and Trump has been falling asleep. Okay, here's a picture from where he fell asleep just days ago. Okay, just days ago, he was knocked out. Okay, there he is. That's your president. So one of the things that it causes is sleepiness. Okay, one of these side effects is sleepiness, tiredness, feeling worn out. And also, even if it didn't have that as a side effect, Trump, well, I'm not going to say Trump because, again, we don't know for a fact he's taking it. But someone who is taking it would likely be tired and feel worn out anyway because they get infusions. And infusions make people tired and feel worn out, okay? It's a treatment that people get like on a weekly basis, sometimes 1 to 2 weeks. I think with Leqembi, it's one every 2 weeks or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's what they said. But nonetheless, that can make you feel tired and worn out. And another thing that I had noticed, remember I kept showing you Trump's hand. And I told you all that when he's sitting at the Oval Office table or at the desk, he puts his other hand on top of his hand to try to hide that rash, the bruise. It looks swollen sometimes or whatever. Now he's got a Band-Aid on it. And you can barely see that Band-Aid because it blends into the skin. And speaking of the Band-Aid, this is so off topic, but let's talk about this for a second. How many of you, because Black people usually don't know this, but how many of you, and I probably told you all this before, know that Band-Aids were made to blend in with white people's skin? Did you all know that? It's made to blend in with white people's skin. And I learned that from Donald Glover years ago. So I find that very interesting. Okay, you literally can almost not see it. But anyway, his hand looks a little swollen. And what I was going to say is one of the side effects is it causes rashes. So I thought, is that why he has that rash, that it looks like a rash on his hand sometimes? Or now that he has the Band-Aid on his hand. So now what I'm thinking is if he is getting infusions and taking Leqembi, then maybe this hand is swollen and red and now has a Band-Aid on it because they could be giving him his infusions through his hand. Because when they give you an IV, they will very often put it in your hand. Okay? Hold on just a second, beloveds. All right, my apologies, beloved. That was an emergency phone call. Okay, so with that all being said, I was thinking that perhaps because when you get infusions, they put it in an IV, and then like I said, very often they'll put the IV in your hand or somewhere in the your forearm, and maybe that's why he has that band-aid on. I don't know. But anyway, here's what Aaron Rupar said. Trump's bandaged and discolored hand was visible today during an event where he again at times struggled to keep his eyes open. Okay? Can't keep his eyes open. And that's very interesting because like I said, that is one of the side effects. So that all been said, honey, y'all pray for y'all's president, honey, because it looks like it's all going wrong. Now, with that being said, let's talk about headsets because the Inspector General report was released. And we're going to take a look at this. Okay, we're going to take a look at this report because I certainly have it. Before we get to that, let's go to what they're actually saying. What they're actually saying about Mr. Hegseth. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Here we go. All the lies are coming undone.
Questions about Admiral Mitch Bradley was summoned to the Capitol Thursday to clear up questions about that controversial second strike on a suspected drug boat back in September. After the closed-door briefings, lawmakers from both sides agreed Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth did not give the order to, quote, kill them all, as reported by the Washington Post. But that's where the agreement seemed to end.
What I saw in that room was one of the most troubling things I've seen in my time in public service. You have two individuals in clear distress, without any means of locomotion, with a destroyed vessel, who were killed by the United States.
Republican Senator Tom Cotton saw something else.
I saw two survivors trying to flip a boat loaded with drugs down for the United States, back over so they could stay in the fight. This was.
Now, do you all hear this? Do you all hear this, man? He sounds so ridiculous. These people have just been in an explosion. Their boat was just hit with a strike. And he says he sees them trying to reload the boat so they can stay in the fight. This is crazy. And we call it war crimes, what they're guilty of. But at the end of the day, it really shouldn't even be called war crimes. It should just be called murder because they weren't even at war. These people didn't get involved in a war with them. Venezuela is not actively involved in a war with them. They're just out here killing these people. Okay, that's what they're doing. But let's continue.
Witnessed by literally hundreds of uniformed and civilian personnel at the Pentagon.
A decorated former Navy SEAL, Bradley made the call to hit the alleged drug boat with 4 missiles in all. A source familiar with the matter tells CBS News the decision came as survivors were climbing back onto the boat, trying to salvage some of the drugs, and appeared to be communicating with other boats in the vicinity. Hegseth defended Bradley earlier this week.
And by the way, Admiral Bradley made the correct decision to ultimately sink the boat and eliminate the threat.
But the DoD's Law of War manual states that shipwrecked combatants are in a helpless state, and it would be dishonorable and inhumane to make them the object of an attack. Hegseth himself is under fire after the release of an Inspector General's report saying messages he sent on the commercial messaging app Signal put service members at risk last spring as they were about to launch airstrikes against Houthi militants in Yemen. The report states Hegseth shared sensitive information of the impending military operation over an unapproved, unsecured network on his personal device, strictly prohibited by the Department of Defense.
Democrats who saw the video of the missile strikes on the alleged drug boat are calling for Admiral Bradley to testify in an open hearing. There's no word from the Pentagon on whether that will happen or whether it will release the tape to the public.
Okay, so I'm wondering if he's going to testify as well because we know that Admiral Alvin Halsey did say that he's going to testify before Congress, and he already turned in his resignation 15 minutes after Hegseth threatened, to take his rank. This is a low down self. Okay, so let's go to this next clip.
This Trump supporter is on social media tagging Pete Hegseth and encouraging him to attack random civilian boats in U.S. waters based on nothing but assumptions. He's posting TikTok videos like this one here, saying, "Found another boat we should probably double tap," encouraging a war crime. Everyone knows what's in the front of this boat, and it's not fish. He also posted this TikTok video saying, "Found another boat that needs double and maybe even triple tapped." He has a TikTok account, shouldn't be hard to find. Even though it's not in the Caribbean, you should obliterate it for funsies, because the meltdowns would be worth it. He's not analyzing evidence, showing any proof, or citing any investigation. He's saying we should blow up these boats for funsies just because it will make people mad. This is what happens when we have a Secretary of Defense who's posting on Twitter bragging about committing war crimes. These people don't understand how national security or law enforcement is supposed to operate at all. You can't just obliterate a boat because you or somebody on the internet thinks it looks funny. There's this thing called due process, where we actually have to prove our allegations against somebody before taking their life. That way we don't accidentally take the life of somebody who's innocent.
Okay, he's absolutely right. This is all crazy. So you're doing it for fun. That just shows you what kind of sick, depraved, nefarious demons they are. Okay, who does that? Who thinks it's fun to murder people? Okay, and also shout out to that young man. I love his TikTok channel, and he is very smart to be so young. I don't know who raised him, but they did a good job. Okay, and so with that, and he's on the right side of history too, just so you know. Okay, so let's go to this next report, and then we're going to go over this Inspector General's report. We're not going to go through the whole thing. It's like 80 pages long, but we're just going to read some of the beginning of it.
Under a microscope and facing growing calls for transparency, the Pentagon is barreling ahead with its strikes on alleged drug boats. Defense Secretary Hegseth announced another strike yesterday, this one in the Eastern Pacific. It was carried out on the very same day that top commanders were briefing key lawmakers about the controversial first strikes of this campaign, which resulted in a so-called double tap in September that killed 2 shipwrecked survivors. Julia, let's start on this new strike. What do we know about it, and how does it fit into this overall campaign?
Well, Anna, it's been weeks since we've seen a strike in that region. But last night, Secretary Pete Hegseth responded to kind of a snarky post on X about wanting to see another one. And he said, quote, "Your wish is our command, Andrew. Just sunk another narco boat." Southcom confirming that with a post that 4 were killed in this strike. They have been publicizing all of these, rolling them out amid all of this controversy, even still. And so right now that we know that there have been 22 strikes with roughly 85 killed so far, Anna.
Okay. Well, with that all being said, all good things come to a close at some point. I mean, did they really think they were going to get away with this? Of course they did. Of course they did. They absolutely thought they were going to get away with it. And Trump just might. Hegseth, I don't think he's going to be so lucky. At least I hope not. Okay, so let's talk about it. This is the Inspector General report released on December the 2nd. Okay, so let's get into it. Everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. So here's what they say. The objective of this evaluation, hold on, let me put on my spectacles. Okay, the objective of this evaluation was to determine the extent to which the Secretary of Defense, the Secretary, and other DoD personnel complied with DoD policies and procedures for the use of the Signal commercial messaging application, Signal, for official business. Now, additionally, we reviewed compliance with classification and record retention requirements. So on March 15th of 2025, beginning at approximately 13:45 Eastern Daylight Time, U.S. forces conducted air and missile strikes in Houthi forces in Yemen. Now, approximately 2 hours before these strikes, information containing specific details of the strike package was included in a group chat on Signal that included 19 members, including the secretary and a journalist. On March 24th and 26th of 2025, the news magazine The Atlantic published 2 articles that revealed the details of the Signal group chat conversation. So what they basically talked about in here, I'm not going to go through this whole thing like I told you, but they basically said, and I want you all to look at some of this, because if you look at these paragraphs, you see there's a you. These are some of the things that were in the messages, and the U next to those things means that this was unclassified. Okay, so as an original classification authority, he has authority to decide whether information should be classified or whether classified materials no longer require protection. In his 1144 message, he took non-specific general details that he determined as an original classification authority, okay, were either not classified or that he could safely declassify and use to create an unclassified summary to provide to the Signal chat participants. We concluded that the secretary sent sensitive, non-public operational information that he determined did not require classification over the Signal chat on his personal cell phone. The secretary is the head original classification authority in the DoD based on Executive Order 13526 and DoD Manual 5200.45, and holds the authority to determine the required classification level of all DoD information that he communicates. However, because the secretary indicated that he used the Signal application on his personal cell phone to send non-public DoD information, we concluded that the secretary's actions did not comply with the DoD instruction, which prohibits using a personal device for official business and using a non-approved commercially available messaging application to send non-public DoD information. Let me say this. This is how you know Hegseth is so stupid and so unqualified, and he likely was drunk for all we know. That's speculation. I can't verify that, but it has been alleged, and I believe it to be true, that Hegseth has a drinking problem. Okay? They say the man's got a drinking problem. They say he has some other problems too with substances, but I don't know if it's true. But I believe it because he acts like he does, in my opinion. He acts like a whole fool. Okay, very incompetent in my opinion. Now, the secretary sent non-public information, okay, identifying the quantity and strike times of manned U.S. aircraft over hostile territory over an unapproved, unsecured network approximately 2 to 4 hours before the execution of those strikes, which means that this was sent out. The information was leaked 2 to 4 hours before they were going to do it. So if anybody that was an enemy had gotten a hold to that, they could have done some serious damage because they would have known when it was going to happen. You know, they'd have known the time, location, who was going to be the target. They would have known everything, all thanks to him. They would have had plenty of time to get in position to do what they had to do. Using a personal cell phone to conduct official business and send non-public DoD information through Signal risk potential compromise of sensitive DoD information, which could cause harm to DoD personnel and mission objectives. That's just common sense. And quite frankly, we don't even have to be in the military, and I'm not going to read any more of this because I think we all get the gist of it. This is about his nefariousness with Signalgate is what they call it. The bottom line is that was just careless and stupid. Now, I forget the gentleman's name, but it was another official who said that when he would go into those meetings, he would never take a cell phone, laptop, tablet. He would not take anything in there because he knew that if he didn't take anything, he would be less likely to have any, worries about leaking sensitive information. And the fact that this man is the Secretary of Defense or Secretary of the Department of War, the fact that he thought it was okay to send such messaging over his cell phone, people lose their cell phones get hacked. Okay, at the end of the day, he didn't think that was risky. That's just so stupid. I mean, that just shows that he doesn't even have common sense, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, fools only outsmart themselves, says Alice. Okay, Roddy said, hold on. Roddy said there's no way a first world nation is this incompetent. Sadly, but we are. Sadly, but we clearly are. Now, here are 6 things to take away, 6 takeaways from the Pentagon Signalgate investigation. The agency watchdog investigated whether the defense secretary violated the agency's standards for sharing classified information and putting troops in danger, or that he put the troops in danger. The Pentagon Inspector General's release Thursday of a long-awaited report on DoD Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, his role in Signalgate. They say that investigators concluded that Hegseth's use of the Signal messaging app to send updates about strikes in Yemen broke rules for handling sensitive information. Even if Hegseth has the power to declassify information however he sees fit, he still put the troops in danger. He broke the rules. Now, the report concluded that Hegseth sent this sensitive, non-public operational information over the Signal chat onto his personal cell phone. Now, or on his personal cell phone. That goes against long-standing rules at the Pentagon about using personal devices and commercial apps, including Signal. So while the mission in Yemen was carried out successfully, the Inspector General also concluded that Hegseth's use of a personal cell phone and Signal chats for official business risked potential compromise and sensitive DoD information, which could harm personnel and mission objectives. Now, the watchdog also noted that Hegseth had other classified devices that he could have used to provide details about the Yemen strikes to national security leaders. Pentagon policies largely prohibit the use of Signal for sensitive updates. So they say he has a very tight circle. Hegseth has faced a sea of recent controversies, even in his front office. Now, the report revealed the small circle of close confidants with whom the Pentagon chief often surrounds himself. Just 2 officials were with Hegseth at his Fort McNair home during the Yemen strikes. It said this included his then junior military assistant, Ricky Buria, who now serves as acting Pentagon chief of staff. That's interesting. Likely got hired for the job because he's friends with Hegseth. Now, the IG also confirmed that Buria requested and oversaw the creation of a tool that allowed Hegseth to access the contents of his personal cell phone from inside his Pentagon office. This goes around rules for the space, which is set up to limit the use of connected devices to prevent intruders from snooping. Hegseth's messages in the Signal chat created by then National Security Advisor Mike Waltz were set to auto-delete after a period of time. So the Pentagon could only provide a partial copy of Hegseth's messages. Investigators were forced to rely largely on transcripts published in The Atlantic, which editor-in-chief Jeffrey Goldberg received when he was inadvertently added to a chat. Pentagon denied the IG request for a full copy of the chats because it was not a DoD-created record. So Hegseth has also refused to sit for an interview with the investigators. Now, I find that interesting. If you don't feel like you did anything wrong, you have nothing to hide, you want to be transparent because that's what they lie and say, why doesn't he want to sit and interview with these investigators? He instead provided a written statement that said he had the authority as Defense Secretary to safely declassify information with which the report agreed. He also described the information he shared with national security officials as non-specific general details used to create an unclassified summary for the Signal chat participants. Now, I want you to catch how he deflected right there, because though he may have the power to decide what's classified or not, doesn't have a darn thing to do with him using his personal cell phone and the Signal app, which is clearly against policy and could have potentially cost soldiers their lives. Okay? That doesn't have anything to do with that. So that explanation may not hold up with Hegseth's critics. Yeah, it doesn't hold up with this one. The IG, and that's the IG determined that the information the Pentagon chief posted in the Signal chat before the strikes, including when they would happen and the aircraft and weapons involved, mostly restated details from classified emails sent by then U.S. Central Command Chief General Eric Kurilla. The Inspector General review is a total exoneration of Hegseth and proves that what we knew all along, no classified information was shared, says Pentagon spokesperson Sean Purnell. This matter is resolved and the case is closed. That's not true. Okay, that's not true. You see, they're trying to imply, and by they, I mean the right, Trump and his minions, they're just trying to act as though he was exonerated because the report does say that he has the right to say what's classified or not. But at the end of the day, like I said, it didn't have anything to do with what he did, okay, with his carelessness. That has nothing to do with that. And he is not exonerated from that. Now they say Democrats are not satisfied. They insist the report shows Hegseth's actions threaten the troops, and that's exactly what it shows. Could have gotten them killed, okay? And it remains, or he remains, unaccountable. Now that could pose a problem if the House or Senate changes hands in 2026, giving the opposition party subpoena power. Representative Joe Courtney, a member of the House Armed Services Committee, said that Hegseth's refusal to sit for an interview with the Inspector General is alarming behavior and begs the question of whether the secretary is prepared to be accountable for his reckless actions. Listen, we already know he's not prepared to be accountable, because when you start to take accountability, the first thing you do is own up to what you did. You admit that you were wrong, you give an apology if need be, and then you take responsibility. You admit that it was your fault, that you messed up, you did the wrong thing. He hasn't done any of that. He's still lying. He's still deflecting and gaslighting, just like Trump. That's all both of them do. So now Senate Intelligence Committee Vice Chair Mark Warner and House Intelligence Committee Ranking Member Jim Himes have called for Hegseth's resignation, with Himes saying the situation was a fireable offense for anyone else. Now, Warner, in a Thursday interview, framed the report as only the start of more investigations. So this is far from over, and he is definitely not exonerated. He says, I mean, come on. He waves his magic wand and says he's declassified this information. Okay, originally, his position was nothing classified here. Bullish. Everyone knew from day one, you don't put the battle order out and then put it on an unsecured communications device. That's just common sense. I mean, I really think that, some of these young people know that. Like that young man whose video I just showed you. I guarantee you, he knows better than that. And some people in high school have better sense, I would think. Now, Hegseth has changed his tune all of a sudden. Hegseth, as a former Fox News host, lashed out against the then Secretary of State Hillary Clinton back in 2016 for sending government emails to a private server. You all remember when Hillary did that? And she was stupid for doing that too. The fact that she wouldn't, this is Hegseth talking smack, the fact that she wouldn't be held accountable for this, I think, blows the mind of anyone who's held our nation's secrets dear. This is what he literally said on air, adding that anyone with a top secret clearance knows that even one hiccup causes a problem. But he seems to have forgotten that when he got his position. Okay, anyone who handles sensitive government information like that should be fired on the spot. Now, that's what he said. That's what he said out of his own mouth. Okay, so these are just some of the 6 things we need to remember when thinking about that. Okay, he's wanting other people to be held accountable for the same things that he's doing. Like he stood up there and told those soldiers that they should not ever follow illegal orders. And that if you do, there's consequences, as there should be. But he doesn't want consequences for what he did. He wants to blame shift. Okay, and then not take any accountability at all, ever. Also nefarious. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Now let's talk about Zelensky. Putin tried to take Zelensky out. I know it wasn't anybody but Putin's order. I know it was only Putin's order. So there was an assassination attempt on Zelensky. And like I said, had to be Zelensky. Who else? Who else wants that man taken up out of here? And Putin's already pretty much shown us that he's like F peace. Zelensky's plane came under military-grade drone attack coming into Dublin airport. Now, they say the Ukrainian president's plane came under a drone attack, breaching a no-fly zone as it approached Dublin's airport on Monday around 11 p.m. The 4 military-style drones breached the no-fly zone, but thankfully, President Volodymyr Zelensky's plane was ahead of schedule. Okay, so the aircraft avoided the drones. That's the only reason, because they came early. Now, right? Because they came early. I guess luck was on his side that day. The military-style drones then flew out to the Irish Sea and then flew over a naval vessel, which was deployed for the state visit. The journal was told by sources that the drones took off from northeast Dublin and flew for about for up to 2 hours. The Irish police are investigating if they took off from an undetected ship or from land. So, when that happened, who do you think Zelensky blamed? Who do you think Zelensky was ticked off at? He was ticked off at Trump. Here's a brief clip where he's going in on Trump. I love all of this chaos. I mean, that's surrounding Trump at this point. I mean, this is no laughing matter. It's serious things going on here. We have people that are legally here, or people that have been allowed to, come here or whatever legally, and they're being deported. You have people who are citizens who are not even immigrants being threatened to be deported, snatched up by ICE. You have all kinds of chaos going on, all crazy stuff. So when bad things happen with Trump and the people in his administration, I love it. I love that the GOP is crumbling from the inside out. They have internal issues. Okay, everything's just falling apart for them right now at the end of the day, and I can't wait to see how midterms turn out. Okay, so let's go to this footage. This is just a brief clip of Zelensky talking smack.
Possible outcome, peace and justice must prevail. When you have a true community of nations on your side, you cannot be crushed and your rights can be restored. No one can break the world alone, not even Russia, not even with its few bodies. No one can lie to the entire world forever, not even Putin. No one can stand against everyone else.
Wonder if Trump has anything to say about that. I'm pretty sure he won't have anything to say. Okay, and then here's the thing. Why is Trump still talking about affordability is a scam? Okay, he said it's a scam. Hold on, let me pull up Representative Swazi. I hope I'm saying his name right. I think it's Swazi. He did an interview with Ben Masalis from Midas Touch. And he was talking about Americans being under attack for their health care and all of that. Buckhorst said all this is just going to crumble. It's crumbling right now, honey. Okay, it sure is. D Major said Trump is a scam. Okay, and Laverne said Putin isn't worried. Oh, no, he definitely isn't. He definitely isn't. Hold on, let me put an overlay on this. This is the overlay we're going to use.
With a lot of the more moderate, if that exists, Republicans to try to, they're worried about this, one, just in terms of what their constituents suffering, but also the midterms they see as the flashing warning signs as well. What's going on, Congressman?
Well, come January 1st, a bunch of people's health insurance rates are going through the roof. There are people who have what are called these premium tax credits, enhanced premium tax credits, that are going to lose them come December 31st if Congress doesn't act. And as a result, there'll be people in my district. I looked it up the other day. If you're a family of four making $130,000 a year, your premiums are going to go up more than $1,000 a month. I mean, no exaggeration, no hyperbole. It'll even be more than that. It'll go up $1,000 a month, and everybody will be facing. These people that get these premium tax credits will be facing hundreds of dollars, if not over $1,000 a month in increased health insurance premiums. So this is a real problem for real people. And affordability is the number one issue in the country. There's no question about it. It's not only reflected in all the polling, it's reflected in the election results we saw in November. It's reflected in Tuesday night. People want to know what you're going to do to make my life better.
Well, joining us this morning, Democratic New York Congressman Tom Suozzi.
Yep. Beloveds. So with that all being said, that was Representative Thomas Suozzi. Now, and this is absolutely true, everything that he's saying. And like I told you all, the only reason Marjorie Taylor Greene was going off about the Affordable Care Act is because her kids they'll be having to pay all this extra money. That's all that is. I mean, but aren't these politicians involved in insider trading? Aren't some of them involved in that? I would say so. Okay, I would absolutely say so. That's just my opinion. Okay, but anyway, let's continue because Trump says, let's go to the footage of Trump once again talk about affordability as a whole scam. It's a Democratic scam. My question is, even if he really thinks something's a scam, which he doesn't, it's just things that he doesn't want to deal with. But if he did think it was actually a scam, why is everything that he calls a scam and a hoax and a con job always tied to the Democrats? He is so stupid. Okay, but let him cook.
Democrats talk about affordability. They just say the word. It doesn't mean there's this fake narrative that the Democrats talk about affordability. They just say the word. It doesn't mean anything to anybody. Just say it. Affordability. I inherited the worst inflation in history. There was no affordability. Nobody could afford anything. The word affordability is a con job by the Democrats.
Just absolute ridiculousness, okay? A con job by the Democrats. Okay, Trump, we believe you.
Yeah. I think affordability is the greatest con job. They look at you and they say, affordability. They don't say anything else. Everyone says, oh, their prices were so low. No, they had the worst inflation. I think affordability is the greatest con job. They look at you and they say, affordability. They don't say anything else. Everyone says, oh, their prices were so low. No, they had the worst inflation.
Trump, sit down somewhere. Okay, he needs to sit down somewhere. All right. Terry Hinton said, I love when y'all call him Trump, and that's how you really say his name in Germany. Trump, you are deflecting on those Epstein files. We saw your picture with the YNs. Oh my goodness, honey, you did not see Trump's picture with no YNs, did you? Okay, so anyway, with that all been said, let's talk about this group of thugs that all got arrested, about 6 or 7 of them, because they invited this girl to the house and they all just assaulted her. Okay, so let's get into it. Even the grandmother was arrested because they say that the grandmother knew it was going on because this is an ongoing thing that they obviously do because the police have been to their home a myriad of times. And they said so the grandmother has to know what's going on. I find this is all so crazy. And so girl attacked as assaulted by a group of teenage boys, girls at house party in Paulding County, according to deputies. Deputies said that after the girls began assaulting her, the 17-year-old boy and a 21-year-old man then assaulted her. And this is from Paulding County, Georgia. So the Paulding County, Georgia Sheriff's Office announced multiple arrests after what deputies described as a violent incident involving underage drinking, assault, and suspected gang activity at a home repeatedly visited by law enforcement this year. So it all started when a group of teenage boys and girls as young as 13 and young adults had gathered at a home when an underage girl came over. She came over to the house and began drinking with a group of teens. First of all, why are they in here drinking? 13 years old too? Okay, at some point at the house, things turned physical, and deputies said that she was assaulted by a 13-year-old girl and a 17-year-old girl. So a deputy said that after the girls began assaulting her, a 17-year-old boy and a 21-year-old man then assaulted her and were each charged with aggravated sodomy. So because many individuals involved are juveniles, the sheriff's office withheld certain details but said that one juvenile is being charged as an adult. Now, deputies also said the home has been the subject of 4 prior SWAT responses in 2024. We're talking about SWAT, not just regular police. Okay, with some of the same individuals previously linked to gang-related incidents and assault cases. Who raised these thugs? They need to be in jail. Why haven't they gone? I mean, all these SWAT raids and they're still out. I guess they didn't find anything. They must have known where to hide it. So in total, several adults and juveniles were charged on a range of offenses, including aggravated sodomy, aggravated assault, battery, and participation in criminal gang activity, maintaining a disorderly house, and contributing to the delinquency of a minor. Okay, now here are some of the suspects arrested and their list of charges. 21-year-old Deontay Parker, aggravated sodomy, party to a crime, aggravated assault, party to a crime, 4 counts of participation in criminal gang activity and battery, party to a crime. Then you have 17-year-old Jabari Scott, aggravated sodomy, party to a crime, assault, party to a crime, 4 counts of participation in criminal gang activity and battery, party to a crime. You have 13-year-old charged as an adult. Now, why is the 13-year-old charged as an adult? Well, let's see. Aggravated sodomy, party to a crime, aggravated assault, party to a crime, 4 counts of participation in criminal gang activity and battery, party to a crime. They have the same charges. I wonder why they charge them as an adult, okay? Because it doesn't say that they charge that 17-year-old as an adult. Well, anyway, 17-year-old Raina J. White, aggravated sodomy, party to a crime, aggravated assault, party to a crime, 4 counts, all the same charges clearly. A 59-year-old woman was charged with maintaining a disorderly household, and a 36-year-old woman was charged with maintaining a disorderly house and contributing to the delinquency of a minor. A 23-year-old man was charged with contributing to the delinquency of a minor. You know, I think that the adults should have gotten more serious charges. I don't know. That's just me. What do you all think? I think they should have gotten more than just contributing to the delinquency of a minor and a disorderly house. Don't you all? Because if you're allowing people to bring people over and they're being assaulted, beat up, and all this stuff, that's real crazy. You should have some serious charges, more so than that. But hey, what do I know? That's just my opinion. But let's go to this news report. Here we go. I'm going to share my screen.
Their story changes fast. Our client.
Hold on, I didn't mean to do that. Let me try to go back. Okay, here we go. These thugs are just getting younger and younger. Have y'all noticed that?
Sometimes get up to 100 times the insurance company's first offer with 0 delays and 0 doubt.
Call attorney John Foy and Associates today.
Off the streets in Paulding County, the sheriff's office shut down multiple houses this year. Channel 2's Michelle Newell live now in Paulding County for us. And Michelle, this crackdown, it's part of a larger effort here.
It really is, George. The ultimate goal really is to seize ownership of these properties, get them all cleaned up and sell to families, turning a bad situation into something good for the community.
This just goes to show that progressive and proactive effort that our office has taken to combat crime.
The Paulding County Sheriff's Office is cracking down
on... Millicent said they may have been threatening the grandmother. Girl, they were not threatening that lady. She, first of all, wasn't the only grown person there. There were other adults there. They all were in on it. The grandmother knew exactly what was going on. She was there for it. See, that's the thing. Let's not make excuses for her, feel sorry for her. They had SWAT called to the house a myriad of times. If someone was threatening her, she could have told the police. If SWAT shows up at your house and you're being threatened, tell the police. I bet you they won't be threatening you after that. But she didn't tell the police anything. Nobody's threatening her, honey. She was down with it. And a lot of these adults let these thugs live with them, whether it's their kids or grandkids, their nephews or whatever, nieces. They let them stay in the household because these people will bring in the drug money, the money that they make from robbing, stealing, and doing whatever. They'll be benefited by the money. So they don't say anything. They'll go along with it. That's what many of these people do in the hood. And that's just a fact. They know what's going on. Nobody's threatening these people, honey. They do what they want to do.
gangs, drugs, and guns.
We've shut down multiple houses this year
because we are sick and tired of drugs and gangs in Paulding County.
Our approach under Sheriff Henson's administration is just showing people what is actually happening.
7 suspects walked out of this house in handcuffs last week after it was raided. Investigators say 2 suspects brutally beat a teen before 3 others sexually assaulted the victim in the house.
The grandmother, she was arrested also. it was her house, so she knew what had been taking place there and had essentially turned a blind eye to it.
This was the fourth time the sheriff's office raided the property. They received numerous complaints from neighbors. The crackdown is part of a much larger effort to seize drug houses.
Through the Paulding County District Attorney's Office, we're attempting to seize this one as well.
Our drug task force agents and our detectives are actively working literally as we're sitting here on a couple of cases that will result in raids.
And one of the 7 suspects the sheriff's office arrested last week during that raid is just 13 years old. She is being charged as an adult, facing numerous serious crimes. Reporting live from Paulding County, Michelle Newell, Channel 2 Action News.
Just ignorant. Just so darn ignorant. 13 years old, and you're already catching felony cases, and now you're just ruining your darn life before you even get, become an adult, before you even get a chance to live your life. So stupid. But this is what they get, and this is what happens. We have sorry parents who don't do their own due diligence when raising their kids. Okay, that's why they need fathers in the home. Single moms are not cutting it. Some of them, and it's just the fact. Some of these single moms are not cutting it. Y'all know it. Y'all see these women on here, these Instagram models, or these women out here chasing men with bags and all that. And they're not out here taking care of their kids like they're supposed to. Plenty of them aren't. That's just the fact. That's why we have all these thugs. Okay. And then we have some of these grandmothers out here doing the same thing. Like that man said, the officer said, she knew what was going on. She turned a blind eye. We need to stop making nefarious excuses for people who are a detriment to our own community. For one, despise these kind of people. Some of y'all might like them. Some of y'all might be those kind of people. I don't know. Maybe some of y'all are out here gang banging. Okay, do you gang bang? But at the end of the day, I don't like these kind of people. And I want them locked the hell up and taken off the streets. When we start telling on these people, when people stop being so stupid as to think, oh, I'm not going to snitch, when you're just a regular civilian, and you're not out here committing crimes, that's not snitching. That's a concerned citizen. And everybody who is a concerned citizen, or if you're not one, you should be one, okay? And you should be reporting these things. You can do it anonymously. But at the end of the day, we need to clean up our own neighborhoods because this is ridiculous, okay? You want to keep hearing about 2-year-olds getting shot at birthday parties? Okay, 11 and 13 and 12-year-olds getting shot at birthday parties by gangbangers. Like, my thing is, why don't the police do a whole, why don't they go and do a COINTELPRO on these gangbangers? And like how they did with the Black Panther Party. They were willing to take them down, and they were doing good work in the community. Okay, building up the community, protecting the community, starting food programs and things like that, WIC programs, things that were very beneficial. But these thugs, question is, how come they don't just get rid of them? You don't think they could? They can't get rid of the Bloods and the Crips and all these nefarious people, but you got rid of the Black Panther Party? Yeah, they could get rid of them, but you know why they won't? They'll lock them up, some of them. Some of these counties still lock them up, but some of these thugs, these gangbangers specifically, some of them are tied in with the police. They're the foot soldiers, okay? And that's why some of them are not going to get arrested, or they'll be allowed to keep doing dirt. End of the day, but people need to be saying something as far as I'm concerned, not making excuses. I don't make excuses for nefariousness. That lady knew exactly what was going on. Okay. Now, Measure Man says, I'm late, Queen, covering DT Gates and Elon. Okay, Epstein lawsuit filed over November the 24th. Bots attacking me because Candace Owens retweeted the post and people thought it was a lie and she posted the lawsuit. Honey, Candace has got her own set of problems. I started to talk about her today, but I changed my mind because she's not even worth, I don't even want to give her any clout. But I just love what I will say. And thank you for your insight into the topic, that information, and your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. What I will say is, Candace, I love to see it. All of these people that she thought was so down for her, okay, TPUSA, when she was Team Charlie Kirk and all that, those people have all turned on her. They're at an all-out war. When she was working for the Daily Mail, or not the Daily Mail, the Daily Wire, and she was all down with Shapiro, and then her and Shapiro got into it. He didn't like what she was saying, and then they started calling her anti-Semitic. I love it, okay? Because you were all down with them before, and now they have all turned against you. And I just want you all to sit back and pay attention to how all of the demons and devils are falling out of favor, not just with their base, but with each other. Okay? They're all at each other's throats. I love it. Love to see it. Period. Okay? That's how it should be. All right, that's right, Buckhorse DC, Candace Owens. That's her name. Okay, so with that being said, I'm going to conclude this broadcast. And I want to thank you all. Oh, hold on. This is the thing I forgot to tell you all, honey. Let me just tell you all this real quick. Trump could extend travel ban to more than 30 countries. Okay, so Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said Thursday evening that President Donald Trump is evaluating over 30 countries to place a travel ban on following the shooting of the National Guard members in Washington, D.C. Okay, that's all his fault. Did he forget that part? Okay, saying, I won't be specific on the number, but it's over 30. And the president is continuing, they say, to evaluate the countries, Noem says. And she gave this information during an interview where she was on Fox News. So at least 30 countries. I find that all interesting, don't y'all? Or more than 30. That's what he said. So far, the Trump administration has banned travel from 19 countries, including Cuba, Iran, and Afghanistan. No surprise there. Now, they say on November the 26th, 2 National Guard members, Andrew Wolf and Sarah Beckstrom, were shot in D.C. Beckstrom was killed. Okay, we know about all of that. Let's go to this interview right here, though. I didn't even know I had this. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Terry said Trump will not ban the clear Afrikaners, though. Well, honey, you know he's not going to ban them. He certainly won't.
I'm Christine Frizzau in Washington, where the Trump administration appears to be attempting to implement even more rules, not just on who can immigrate to our country, but who can come here at all. The Trump administration calling it an asylum overhaul, with new extensive restrictions put in place, escalating what was already a widespread immigration crackdown.
Our country's at a tipping point. We could go one way or the other, and we're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem in a post saying she's recommending a, quote, full travel ban on every damn country that's been flooding our nation with killers, leeches, and entitlement junkies.
If you come to this country, you contribute. You don't defraud the system. You don't use our social safety net as a hammock. You don't harm or kill Americans or otherwise commit any crimes against them.
The change is prompted by the shooting of 2 National Guard troops last week. The suspect in the country as part of an asylum program for those who assisted the United States in Afghanistan. While he specifically was granted asylum under President Trump's administration, many top officials continue to blame his predecessor, President Joe Biden.
He opened up the borders, let anybody come in that wanted to. He put them on airplanes. He let them through our airports. If they could figure out a way to get to our shores and in our country, he just opened the door and invited them in. So it's our job to get them out.
Critics raising red flags about announcements by the White House to pause asylum cases, especially for the thousands of people who worked alongside American troops overseas.
In the case of these zero units, they went out and executed highly classified special forces missions and intelligence community missions. And we made a promise to them. We said, if you stand with us, we'll stand with you.
President Trump had already flagged 19, quote, countries of concern likely to be impacted by new restrictions. The Department of Homeland Security now says it will announce new additions soon, with about 30 countries reportedly set to be on that updated list. I'm Christine Frizzau reporting.
Okay, so there you have it, honey. They're about to ban everybody from coming here, according to Trump. Right, and Kristi Noem. So anyway, I'm just gonna sit back and eat my popcorn, honey, because I'm loving every minute of it. Like I said. Meanwhile, they're still out there messing with those boats. Okay, that's what they're still doing. Doesn't look like that's gonna slow up anytime soon. All right, so that's the news for now. I want to thank you all for tuning in once again. Please like and share. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. And I hope you all enjoy your strong end, not your weak end, leaving you in a weakened state of mind. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Peace.
Yo, Nick, hit him with that flavor. Sold all in my skin.
God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got